is the Magnet.
Hello, you're welcome to this week's edition of the Magnet. The Magnet is a program that parades professionals from diverse backgrounds. We hinge on and focus on various topics. But remember, for the past few weeks, we've been at the finance space, and we have somebody who has been tutoring, nurturing, and mentoring us over the past weeks. He's still here. And what was the magic this time that we were able to grab him for this length of period? Anyway, never mind. Are you a macro, small and medium enterprise? Are you an entrepreneur in that space? That will be our focus today, particularly as it concerns ethical finance, ethical investment, all in a bid to grow your business. Let's go for a short break. We'll be back.
Good day, viewers. It's a pleasure to be with you once again in this segment of the Magnet, wherein we've been discussing various aspects of how to start business, how to manage business, how to run business, and how to expand business. We've been talking about sourcing capital, we've been talking about taxation, we've been talking about a gamut of several aspects, and we will continue to be talking about so many aspects that will help you to become even a better manager and a better business owner. Today we will be looking at a very important aspect of business operations. The subject matter of today's conversation centers on an aspect of accounting that is tagged management accounting. Accounting or accountancy as a subject is quite intricate, is quite vast, and is diverse in quite a number of multiplicity of aspects. There is a taxation aspect of accounting, there is an investment aspect of accounting, there is cost accounting, there is financial accounting, there is management accounting. There are quite a number of gamut of accountancy as a subject. Remember, it is a subject that is being studied in virtually all the universities that I know of, as well as polytechnics that are operating whether within Nigeria or outside Nigeria. So we will just be taking a tips of the iceberg. Remember, we talk about bookkeeping in one of our episodes. Bookkeeping, like we did say, is just the aspect of record of transaction, records of activities of of a business. Now, management accounting, there are two definitions or two aspects of management accounting. Management account, as it is popularly called, is the annual accounts of a company that have been produced by leaders of the company, meaning the management of the company, the managing director, the chief finance officer, or the chief accountant, and those accounts are yet to be audited. They are also not yet presented to the board of directors of a company with a view to approving the account or with a view to auditing the account and certifying them to be appropriate, adequate in all material respect, and then presented in the best way and manner possible in line with what we call the international best practice or international accounting standard. That is one definition of management account. That is an end of year account produced by management and not yet audited. In the realm of manufacturing company operation, we have, like I did say, multiplicity of accounting function. There's the financial accountant or finance accounting, which centers on liquidity management of a business. There is the cost accounting, which centers on costing or making sure that they record all the financial implication, the expenses, the cost associated with the production or manufacturing of any product. And then there is the management accountant. The management accountant now works hand in hand with the cost accountant, with the financial accountant, with a view to making sure that whatever the cost accountant and the financial accountant and the other bookkeepers are doing are in conformity with international best practices, are also in conformity with the rules and regulation as espoused by, say, the company. In this case, for example, what are the depreciation policy of the company? What are, say, the stock record policies of the company? What are the, policies on human resources, the cost apportionment between this aspect of the business and the other aspect of the business? So normally in a typical medium-sized operation, you could see in an under the chief finance officer or the chief accountant of the company, you could see a cost accountant, you will see a management accountant, you will see a financial accountant or a treasury manager. These are some of the garments of the finance function, but like I did say, we center on management accounts as it relates to small and medium scale enterprises, and as it relates to the books of account as produced by the management at the end of a period, or management accountant that keeps records and make sure that these records are in harmony between the various arms of the businesses, meaning looking at the stock records, raw materials scored, stationery scored, stocks, and other garments of materials that are kept by the company, be them even the spare parts of the business, another garment of stocks that companies keep. It is important to realize that it may not necessarily be possible for all organizations to have these functions manned independently by separate individuals. So you could have an organization that has one person that is doubling as a chief accountant, as management accountant, as cost accountant, and as financial accountant, because maybe the responsibilities aren't so gargantuan. They are not so much to be able to say, I need to hire 1, 2, or more personalities to manage. Maybe even the financial implication, the cost implication of hiring multiplicity of hands. Sometimes also, like I said in one of the episodes, some of these functions, you may not necessarily need to hire somebody and put that person on your payroll. You could hire an accounting firm that could give you and render this service on an ad hoc basis, that they can come in from time to time, take the records, process, and give you the reports. Or you may still hire somebody, but say for a number of days, and then that person could be doing this function for a period for you. Once again, thank you for listening, and I'm sorry the time may not be sufficient enough to do justice to this topic, but I'm sure you would have gotten something good enough to give you and to put you and to put your thinking caps to say, hey, wait a minute, my business needs a management accountant, or it needs a cost accountant, or it needs a financial accountant, or I need someone that could work all this around for me so that my business can be better. The idea of this episode, these tips, is basically to make you a better entrepreneur, a better business owner, and above all, a successful business person. Once again, I thank you very much for being with us. God bless us all. See you in the next episode.
Welcome back. Great pleasure to welcome to the program again the magnate, Dr. Bashir Oshodi. He is the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Trust Arthur. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Aja.
What is your take on their thinking in terms of, because the failure rate in that space is very high? What's your take? How do you classify them?
In our own system in Nigeria, if you have 100 entities or companies, right, 90 of them are micro, 90 out of 100. Then 8 of them are small. So 98% of companies in Nigeria are micro and small.
Micro, not macro.
micro,
and
small.
Okay.
So it then means that the bulk of the people, I mean, the medium ones are just barely 1.5, and then the last one is the big ones. Everybody wants to get jobs in. They're just barely 0.5, right? What that means is that, and of course, these people are not served as such, because I mean, the big banks, we just say, what are you talking about? Why would I want to give out 500,000 naira to 1,000 people when I can just give out so much to one person? I collect collateral and make sure that I mitigate my risk.
It's a big deal now.
Exactly. And so, again, we talk about so-called data time. Sometimes a lot of people at the bottom of the pyramid, they really don't care. Whether they've done so, whether it's a new policy, whether it's a tax reform, they don't understand what you're talking about. What matters to them is that how do they pay the little school fees? How do their family feed? Once or twice a day, not 3 times.
Of course now.
How do they get to take care of hospital bills? Somebody still called the other day and said, hospitals, doctors are on strike, they can't, and they didn't know what to do. So they just want little money to buy. So the other time somebody didn't have money to buy medicine for Panadol. sorry, to buy medicine for malaria. They went to buy Panadol instead. That was what they could buy, even though they had malaria. And he had a wife and 2 kids. And so those are so the people at the bottom, they need little money. Sometimes, I remember at the time we had this 50,000 naira per woman. I think with this a program in the north, the bulk of the money was guaranteed by one of the.
That can start master trade.
Just 50,000.
Of course, they can start master.
50,000. A lot of people were empowered. So can you imagine if we say to this time, let's just say at least 100,000. People at the bottom selling. Can you imagine the person that sells handkerchief on the street? Just give the person just give the person
20K, for instance.
You'll be too happy. Now, I mean, the time I was in Lagos Island, there was rain. Immediately the rain stopped a little bit. Everybody came out with that thing.
To sell
what are they selling? Just a small pan of, So these people are those that truly, truly need that impact. Investment banks, most of the time, do not deal with these people, unfortunately. And the big commercial banks do not see them interesting. A lot of them are still having units that handles it. Even though, of course, just like you mentioned, the risk is high, right? The risk that you're going to give out money to a lot of people. Everybody says, are part of the national cake. They also go away. And that's what has happened globally, is to see how we can apply peer group pressure, to collect money, about deal with communities that know each other. And like I also mentioned the other time, I want to do this with women, for example, if I have to play in that space. Luckily, of course, I know the federal government has a number of funds for this.
For women?
For even for MSMEs.
Okay.
Or micro and small businesses. And these funds are, they're cheap, they're available. But the next thing is, of course, you must pay this fund back, right? The next thing is, how do you create a portfolio under the non-interest finance asset management space to create a unique portfolio, say for women, doing small and medium businesses, right? That portfolio will be such that, of course, you have to partner with other entities, like maybe microfinance banks and even NGOs, to identify the right set of people or communities that you can feed with funds to expand their business. So again, of course, in Nigeria, one of the biggest problems is that startups fail because your expectations are high. The person that's doing the business feels, I can do so much, but you've never done it before. If you've not done any business before, you don't know. It's just, no matter how educated you are, you must have tried, you must have risked your own capital or your family funds or inheritance or whatever. You must have risked it first, before you can then. So that's one. So one of the things we then discovered in this space is that there's a need for enlightenment, bookkeeping, so if you like capacity building, because you cannot just give out money. The guy doesn't know what to do, the lady doesn't know what to do with the money. But you have to then help them, you have to pass knowledge to them on how to manage the resources, Sometimes they don't even have an idea of the market. You can imagine somebody...
Target audience.
Exactly. Somebody doing catfish. Does the catfish, somebody comes and clears everything. Meanwhile, if you improve that catfish a little bit by smoking it, it's going to get a lot of value.
Expand the market.
But the thing then is that person producing it doesn't even know who to supply it to. So it means that you need to give them access to markets. Yes. So access to fund, access to market. Access to capacity building.
Recently we were opportune to handle a project federal government projects, and I discovered that most of the beneficiaries we interviewed, we interfaced with and interacted with, came from the background of associations. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, how do you think dealing with associations, groups, is different from dealing with individual in this regard?
Okay, so again, if you have to look at research locally, globally, you find out that when you deal with associations, their members will ordinarily force the other member to pay. You know, how much can you do at the financial institution, write letters? Are you going to chase someone that giving
To the village.
You know, but if they are peer groups,
Exactly.
they're related, you know, and of course they are being mentored together, they'll be able to caution themselves well. So it's a lot easier. So again, do I want to give 100 people in different parts of different places, individuals, you know, 500,000 each? No. But I can do that for a community. So it's almost better to identify communities. At the time, one of the places where I worked, we did this for farmers, doing cocoa and maize. No, not cocoa, maize and cassava, right? And I can bet you a lot of the cooperatives all over from Okeho, you know, in Oyo State, to places in even Edo State, you know, we realized that, you know, all of them were paying, the communities were paying, the cooperative farmers were paying. You know, because on the one hand, we help them to get them inputs, we get them those that will buy their produce, you know, rather than give them money, of course. Again, if there's any labor cost, that's the only cost that we take, we will give to them. So we help them so much that they could then produce from 1 acre to 20 acres, right? Or from 1 hectare to 15 hectares. Because, you know, there's, you know, part of what we do was to absorb everything from them at a fair price, you know. So you say non-interest finance is what we call parallel salam.
Okay.
You know, it's basically you buy what does not exist, agricultural produce does not exist, on the back of the fact that you have somebody that will then buy everything off you. So you have 2 contracts side by side, if you like. On the back of that model, you know, I cannot remember any case of default, right? Because we think you're lending the money under this parallel salam structure, if you like.
There will even be penalty if you don't
yes,
own up.
because they're all working together. So the likelihood that there'll be defaults is very small.
Slim.
Very, very small.
Interesting. You're hearing it from Dr. BASHEER OSHODI, the MD CEO of Trust Athol. Now, let's go for a break. When we come back, he's still going to lend a voice to how you, the MSME holders, can further improve and grow your business. We'll be back shortly. It's a great pleasure to welcome you back to the Magnate. What do you think is responsible for the high failure rate of even business owners? Now we talk of MSME.
Okay, so the first is the fact that production cost is very high. You provide your own water, you provide your own power, you provide your own land, building and everything. So that's one. That's a big cost. In the more advanced economies, you know, you just rent a space and, you know, there's already logistics is taken care of, everything is taken care of. Just to bring in your machines and start work, right? So that problem is there. Of course, I mentioned earlier on access to market. But I think more importantly is the fact that lifestyle can also affect this thing.
We're too social. We want to status conscious.
Yes, you call it the money that is your principal and profit. You spend everything.
Oh, I'm there.
Just like I mentioned sometime again, people take their profit up front. You take everything else. So that's one of the lifestyle we discovered, which is a function of the character of the entrepreneur, if you like, is a major factor that destroys it. Apart from, of course, the external factors and all those factors.
You know, the first thing I learned in starting or being an entrepreneur was that you should separate your personal account from your business account. How does that add to business growth?
Yeah. Of course, that's a fantastic thing to do. But again, another thing is you should be able to monitor, you need to reduce your costs as much as possible. So as a startup, you know, you're probably the only one doing the whole work, right? And then at some point you bring one person and 2 like that. You should know the right time to bring in, you know, all of the new team members. You should know the right time to acquire bigger spaces. The right time to, if you like, expand. From me. Because you cannot over-expand when you're still small.
So you have limitations.
Yeah. So and that's why sometimes you go to the bank, you have a business of 1 million naira. you're asking for 20 million. The bank thinks there's something wrong. You want 20 million. If not spend 1 million effectively, you know. And that's why the banks ordinarily want to increase your business for you gradually, slowly and gradually.
Okay.
But again, that's pure literacy, you know, on financial management is required. What some people do right now is banks. So they just set up another subsidiary or something, or identify a group of people that will build capacity.
Outsourcing.
Exactly. They just build capacity so these guys can learn how to effectively use money. That's about the most important thing.
Okay. You know, stay on this MSME. You know, there are different products, different instruments, let me speak your language, that they can use even within the space of ethical finance. Some of them are very ignorant of it. I hear you people talking about Musharaka, Mudaraba, this, that. How do you counsel them to be able to use all these tools to grow their business?
I'll keep it very simple. So we have the equity-based contract, we have the debt-based contract, and we have the service contract.
Okay.
Equity means you're doing partnership. I mean, I cannot go to somebody that wants to supply sausages to, you know, a supermarket to say I want to do partnership with you. You know, I mean, it's not
Does it add up?
maybe a microfinance bank can do that, right? But I can use debt, right? I can say, okay, do you know what? On this debt side, even for debt, it's challenging. I can say, okay, I'll buy you those things that you want. I'll sell it to you at a markup price, which is fine. So again, I don't want to go into the details of the
like buy equipment for us now, cameras, and
then I can buy your cameras, buy for 100 and I'll sell to you for 120. I put a markup on it, depending on what you're paying.
But that's interesting.
So
I need you to explain that because that I have personally been involved in that.
Yeah. So if I give you 100 naira now, I tell you that give me 20%. I'm collecting 120 from you. Either the next year or 1 year's time or whatever. That's interest. That's clear. But if you tell me that, okay, rather than if you tell me that what you need is just batteries, right? I can as well go and buy the batteries for 100 naira and sell to you for 120.
Okay.
So that's the difference. It's a process that makes it different.
Okay.
One is money on money, while the other one is I bought you an asset I've sold to you.
Okay.
So that's a debt transaction.
Okay. When they say you take non-interest loan, some people will say you share profit, you share losses. I need you to explain that, particularly as it concerns MSME.
There's equity-based transaction, there's debt-based transaction, you have services. Now, under services, you know, a number of our scholars have categorized pure interest-free loan as a service, which is what we call Kodasan, interest-free loan, Kodasan. That is, I'm giving you 100 naira, you pay me back 100 naira later, right? So in some cases, right, and we've done it before practically, where we have given out non-interest loan. So there's no interest banking, which comprises of equity, debt, and services, right? But within the services, you then have, you know, interest-free loans, right, amongst others, right? That interest-free loan means I'm giving you 100 naira, you give me back 100 naira in 1 year's time, 6 months' time, 1 day, you know, next day or whatever, right? So we can use it in extreme cases, but again, it's going to then be a function of the source of the fund. Is the fund from depositor? Is there a cost to it? If there's a cost to it, you know, there's a problem. You have to use any of the other model that allows you to make some spread. But practically, in Nigeria, it's not common. However, there are cases where entrepreneurs that make good money or NGOs can set aside a certain portion, or even financial institutions. I've also done even here in Chosato, where we set aside some money and say, these monies, we only want to give it to the guys at the bottom of the pyramid, the very bottom of the pyramid, for them to do transactions, but they must return it back. In Pakistan, it's what you call the Akwat model. And that Akwat model, they basically use zakat, sadaqah, interest-free loan.
Waqf.
They give to people, including waqf, they give to people in interest-free. So the zakat part, of course, you give it out completely, right? The sadaqah part, you give it out completely. Then the loan part means that you give out a loan and they return the exact amount. But for those that, in that case, they use the religious centers as the offices, so there's no operational cost as such. So because the operational cost is almost flat, it then makes it very easy for them to do such. So in Nigeria, we need to start to explore something similar, where we'll combine all sort of funding. But again, I think it's also good to encourage those that made a lot of money to be able to set aside some money for those because in Nigeria, you have 50% of Nigerian population doing nothing. of other population.
They don't want to, or there are no capacity.
115 million people are doing nothing.
Wow.
If you look at other population specifically, let's say at least 60 million doing nothing. No capacity, no job, nothing. They have nothing. They rely on gifts, right? These people need to be taken care of. Of course, what we also discovered is that when you have a lot of people in that space,
insecurity.
Insecurity, violence, all of these things,
Thank you so much. Anything you want us to know about the MSME?
I think the last point for me really is sometimes it's good for a community of people to just take themselves to the financial institution and say, we produce whatever, all of us collectively need X amount, because again, if you tell religious bodies to guarantee, they won't guarantee. If you tell them to bring blank checks of guarantors, everybody will run back, But when you go, when the group goes to say, hey, this is what we want, please give. I think a lot of banks have said, because that model works. It has worked and it's still working, and particularly they are women. So if two groups come to me, I will give facilities to the
empathy.
The women, gender-based finance rather than the men. I must confess. Thank you. That's my last message.
A lot of organizations and banks are having that empathy towards women-owned organizations now. Thank you so very much.
A pleasure.
That has been the Magnate today. We have been focusing on your business, MSME. I'm sure you have learned a lot. I have, because we had in our space today, Dr. BASHEER OSHODI, the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Trust Author. Remember, you can watch this episode again on our YouTube channel. And of course, follow us on our social media handles. Bye for now.